super butterfingers today, and I'll tell you why in a minute. So, as it has been pointed out probably, today's Monday. I almost always do my live streams on Sunday, but I had a show yesterday, which is also why I'm a little bit butterfingery. I'll explain that all in a second. But first, before I begin, welcome to Flow Tricks. This is Ken. This is our live stream. We usually do it on Sundays, but I was out of town and drove about 7 hours or so yesterday, which isn't too terribly long, but also did a show. So I didn't get home till like 4 a.m. All my muscles were sore. I woke up, I felt like, you know, just those days when you have those long days and you just feel like a train hit you, but I knew I needed to make this live stream. I posted on the Patreon, and I think I might have posted this notice on the YouTube communities section, but I may not have, to be honest. I know I posted on the Patreon page, but I may have forgotten to post it on the YouTube page because I was in such a rush to leave yesterday. So today is my makeup session. I'm a little more fumbly today, though. I have to admit, like, my whole body's in bear mode, so it wants to hibernate and just eat and sleep. So, but I want to make sure that I make a video for you all because I want this to be a habit. So I'm doing it, but I may not be as coordinated today because everything right now, like my whole body's just like telling me to relax. So with that said, I hope you guys have been doing well. I want to give a shout out to Dark Monk. They make all of my training chucks as well as almost all of my fire gear, of which I spun a lot of yesterday. If I can get some video, I'll post it up of my fire dancing yesterday. It was fantastic. We did a show and we were surrounded by boats everywhere. So boats all around us, and that was kind of how the social distancing thing was working. We're able to perform because the whole audience, they all had their own boat and they were just watching us. It was the coolest thing it's the coolest thing I've seen in a long time. Not only did we get social distancing, but we got to perform by the water, which also meant it was kind of humid. It was almost 90, is in the 90s with the humidity of the water and drenched in sweat, which probably the reason why I'm extra tired today is just probably because of all the humidity and just being outside all day. We can talk about performance though if you have questions about this. This is an open forum, so the best part about the open forum is you can ask me anything, and I'm more than happy to help you. Just like I said, you know, I can still do the moves today, but my brain is not sharp at all. I'm feeling kind of butterfingery. Got some cool moves I want to show you, as long as My body will let me. So I do want to say that I am pretty tired today. Just keep that in mind today. So all of my drops, well, just makes me human, right? I'm going to give some shout outs really quick. Let me just jump on Facebook first, because I know my YouTube pops up over here. All my YouTube comments pop up over here, but for some reason my Facebook comments never went through well. So I always want to like physically check. And oh, Ray, okay, I want to give a shout out to Ray. Ray's on the Facebook. Welcome. And then I'm gonna kind of scroll up here and say hello. I'm gonna say hello to Adolf and Hawkeye, Todd, Ike Flow, Holy Moly. Oh, there's Ray. Ray's on YouTube now too. Okay, I scanned through and now I'm gonna go ahead and read off some of the comments. We'll see what we have. Adolf says hello, hello, hello. Hawkeye says Q&A. That's right. Any question you want to know, ask me. I'm more than happy to answer. Todd says Adolf is with us. Adolf says, yeah, that's right. Hey, Ken, you're my biggest inspiration. Oh, thank you. Thank you. No, that's great. That's great. You know, it's what I think is cool is that if I'm a great inspiration, I mean, we're teaching art, a creative way to use a weapon in a way that's self-expressive. That's awesome. That's a cool thing to be inspired about, I think, because we definitely need more creative outlets and less destructive things right now, especially. We got enough destructive things, and destruction creates new things, but at the same time, it's like a fire, and if you let it burn too much, it'll end up consuming everything. So you definitely need that balance, like Avatar: The Last Airbender or whatever. You gotta have air, earth, fire, and water. So, you know, moving a little bit away from the fire might not be so bad, at least at this particular moment, because we got plenty of that. Okay, give me just a second here. Okay, Ike says, I thought the stream was going to be yesterday, or did you change days? Only this week, and only because I couldn't make it. I'll probably try to do better I was going to try to release a video, but it was really like, I woke up and I just go. Like, it was nonstop. Unfortunately, I'm going to try to plan it a little bit better to keep everyone updated so they're not waiting on Sunday. Because, yeah, I was in the middle of a show. All right. Holy Moly says, hello from California. Adolf says, say my name. Silly. Ray says, hey Ken. Ike says, that's good you got a show. Has lockdown relaxed then where you are? No, not at all. Actually, the show we did, I mean, it was mostly performers that just wanted to perform. I'm gonna be honest, that's really what it was. God, we had a huge group of performers though, and they are fantastic. So, and for me, it was like revitalizing, because as a performer, it's like that's your lifeblood, like that's your passion. And with COVID, it like cut everything off. Now, don't get me wrong, I love streaming to YouTube. I love teaching, you know, I love what it does, and it's really given me a sense of purpose. But I definitely miss seeing human beings and not just staring at a camera and reading, you know, and reading stuff. And I do love that, but after a while, I don't know, it just kind of gets a little bit lonely, and it was really nice. Even though the crowd was far away, it was really nice because I could see their expressions. I could see the awe on their face, you know, and crazy things happen. And then you get a bunch of creative artists together, and all of us, like when you think about like what I do, I'm just a small piece of the puzzle. And if you have a bunch of people like me, where we're all dedicated to one specific thing, and you put them all together and they all have their different strengths, what you have is this collaboration that is so much bigger than anything any one person could do. And in my opinion, that is like how you make a community. That is how you make a collective, you know? I would love to see more of that, to be honest. I think that's great. And it's the same reason why I talk a lot. So if you're just joining me, I'm a talker. It's the same reason why I want to teach nunchucks. And my hope is that you guys all get better than me. Like, I hope you take my moves and you improve it to the point where it goes beyond me, because that's how we expand. People just keep going with it, just run with it, and then maybe you can teach me something. But if not, you can teach future generations, and as it goes on and on, the art evolves. I think that's the point of it, more than me getting recognition or this person getting recognition. I mean, I really do like the recognition, of course, and I'd love to make a living off this. It would suck to always be, you know, struggling, but at the same time, like, I don't know, that's how you're not gonna be remembered by anything you kept, you know? You're gonna be remembered by what you gave, so that's how I see it. Adolf, you're the best thing that ever happened in nunchucks, man. You don't know what a teacher you are, skillful and dexterous. Oh, thank you. Thank you. No, I really appreciate that. I originally came on because there were no instructors. I mean, there was like scattered information all around, but there wasn't anything to pull it together into one easy motion. And I think it's just because, again, if you have a bunch of people and everyone's teaching their own thing, you just get scattered bits and bits of information. So I really appreciate that. You know, I've worked really hard to try to create something to where it's a little more cohesive so people can kind of follow. And even if they can't follow it, you know, I'm always here to try to help people and show them what they can do next, which is why we have these live streams. Because even if you don't know what to do next, you could always email me with the video, and then I can check it out and we can watch it online, and I can give you the next step. And that could help other people too who are in a similar boat. Ray asks, can you go over the archer weave at the start of your new doubles challenge? Yeah, I'll go over the archer weave. Also want to just mention on Patreon, this week I will make the full, I did a video challenge, which was a lot more difficult than my other ones. And I've figured, you know, I haven't done a Patreon video in a while because I've been doing these live streams. So this week I'll make a Patreon video going through the whole combo. We can definitely go over the archer weave though. But for anyone that doesn't know what I'm talking about, let me just go ahead and show you this combo first really quick. Just a second here. Whoosh. Look at that, 53,000 Nunchucks subscribers. That's so cool. I gotta brag for a second. 6.5 million views. Now, that's kind of small if you think of like some YouTubers, but for just Nunchucks, that's pretty awesome. Huh, that's weird. I wonder if I just clicked on this live stream, if this would be like an endless loop. I'm not gonna click on it, but just think of the irony of me watching my own live stream, streaming it onto here, what would happen? I think it might be some sort of paradox. Here's the combo. That is the combo. And what we're looking at here, and like I said, I'll go over this again with Patreon a little bit later, but I will show the archer weave. Now, this is an archer weave hand roll, or at least my attempt at an archer weave hand roll. It's very difficult, but we'll go over the archer weaves without the hand rolls today over the live stream. I think that'll be really nice. And then what we're doing over here is a wall plane anti-spin, but we're just doing 2 points. There's point 1, there's point 2, and then it goes into crossers, and then it goes into a weave, and then it goes into a clutch. Boom, boom, boom. All one fell motion. It looks like this. Which of course, as you all may know, I'm gonna go back here, I wanna watch it one more time. As you all may know, it's really more about how you break it apart. So if you try to do this whole combo without, oh, hold on. Hit the wrong button. If you try to do the whole combo without breaking in little pieces, it's gonna be really difficult because each of these has a very specific movement where there's a different accentuation, which is why I did it. The first one accentuates the shoulders and the hand rolls, and the second part of it accentuates the shoulders again and creating points, being able to learn how to create points, but then the last one accentuates the hips, and then we move it back into something traditional. So it's like, I like this combo because it goes through a lot of different body movements in a very fast way. That makes it a little bit more challenging than the norm. So I'm gonna go over the archer weave. I'm just gonna go through these other questions here. I'm gonna actually make a note really quick here. Archer weave. And then if you guys have questions too, let me know, because I'm just taking notes right now. And if I have no questions, then I got nothing to do here. So I do have some random techniques because last week we actually ran out of questions too. But I mean, the best questions are the ones that you guys ask for sure, because then I know it's helping someone directly. Aikiflow, sounds really cool. It would be good to see a video. Okay, cool. You saw the video. All right. Adolf says, can you please give me an instant, extremely good-looking combo with single nunchucks? I really appreciate it. All your combos are great. I need something aesthetically pleasing and skillful. Okay. So what you want, I'm going to type this up really quick. Good-looking combo with single nunchucks. What I want to ask, because good-looking is hard to describe because it depends on where you are, what kind of moves you can already do. You can try to work on new moves, but I'm gonna be honest, like most muggles, most people that don't spin nunchucks, even the figure 8 wrist roll looks fantastic. But for me, it depends on where you are. Like, so if you could tell me like what you're comfortable doing or names of moves that you think you can already do comfortably, it's probably better to build off that than it will be to learn an entirely different skill set. A lot of times, an extremely good looking combo, most nunchuck moves can be good looking, but you have to present it that way. You got to pause more, or you have to stop, or you have to extend more, or put more body into it, or twist your hips a little bit more. A lot of what like makes things look good is how your body presents these combos. It guaranteed, like when you watch kung fu movies, if they didn't use their feet, you know, or their footwork, or they didn't get into deeper stances, then the moves that they're actually doing, which is maybe just a punch or something, would not even look the same. So if you let me know some moves that you can already do, or even send me a video or something, we can take a look at that, and then we can find some accentuations. I find, again, extremely good looking combos, especially for other people. A lot of it just depends on your presentation of what you already know. Most of the time people always think, I want to learn this new combo, I want to learn this new technique, and they pull in all these techniques, but since they haven't refined any of it, it looks good, but it never reaches that point where it just has that boom, boom, boom. And what that is that's drilling. You're drilling it, and then you're expanding it to make sure that how does my whole body move with this, and not just doing a technique. That's a huge deal in terms of making something that looks aesthetically pleasing. So we'll go ahead and go through that, but if you can answer that question, that'd be awesome. Eric, thanks for streaming on Monday. Easier to watch. Hey, that's fantastic. Awesome. You know, it's kind of cool because I couldn't make it on Sunday, but then it opens up the doors for at least some new people. It's almost like, I don't want to keep doing random days though, of course. We gotta make it a scheduled thing, but it's kind of nice to get some new faces too. So welcome, Eric. Holy moly, dude, the fire controlling thing was an avatar. Yup. Eric, what's up, Ken? All the way from Laredo, Texas. What's up, Eric? Let's see, where he learned not to spread fire and stuff. Yeah, oh my god, Avatar, probably one of the best cartoons. Kind of want to call it an anime, but we're kind of in that gray area. It's not really an anime, but could have been. That's the I was talking about. Give me a single nunchuck move which is awe-inspiring. Okay, you know what? I'll give you an awe-inspiring nunchuck move. I can do that. It's again though, it'll be your presentation. Eric, I have a question about doing a routine to train. Nice, easy nunchucks. I lack creativity. How do you do it? Do you think of every move every second, or do you just react? So again, I'll go into techniques really soon. I'm just going to answer questions while I'm sitting down, and then we'll go over some of these things. So Eric's asking about doing a routine when you train. He says he lacks creativity, and he's wondering how I do it. But I feel like it can even be mechanical or even sporty. See, the creativity part, using creativity when you're in flow just allows you to come up with new ideas very fast that you might not be able to do, like that you can just go on the fly. But just even if you feel like you lack the creativity, or you're just not able to come up with things on the fly, all that means then is that you have to train it beforehand. In my opinion, it's really good to create a format. So again, once you learn the technique, you've just begun, and that's usually where people stop. They stop after they learn the technique, and then they go into a different technique. So they have this huge encyclopedia of techniques, but what's really messing them up is their transitions between the techniques are kind of, I don't want to say fumbly, but they lose the energy, and then they do the technique, and that's all their training, and then they lose the energy, and then they go back to the technique. So it, like, the flow just kind of stutters a little bit. When I train, you know, I've always talked about 3 states. There's the train state, where you're optimizing everything. You're doing you're refining it. You're getting better accuracy. You're getting better at the technique itself, getting it down to the point where you don't have to think about it. The creative state, right? So that's the train state. Then there's the create state, and that's where all your creativity, that's where all your drops happen. That's where you're trying to expand what you know into something new. And if you feel like you lack creativity, all you actually need is just to be able to look at your techniques very, very finely. If you can break a technique down into 3 different moves, right? Say, okay, for instance, a figure 8 wrist roll, you know, there's many things happening. There's a circle happening here, a circle happening there, and a cross happening, right? So there's 3 things happening with a figure 8 wrist roll, not including the roll itself. That's really just a figure 8. But in the creative state, you can say, well, what if I did a different pattern? What if I did the first half of this technique, but then I switched it this way? And that's really what it is you're exploring the question of, what if I change this technique some way or another? So your ability to break apart a technique can help you, even if you don't feel creative. Force yourself to not do that. Another thing to force creativity is to create limitations. A lot of people and this is a common misconception. Think that having freedom actually is better, that if they can do anything, it's better, but it's absolutely the opposite in my opinion. So maybe put one arm behind your back, put your right arm behind your back. Now it's going to be sloppy if you're right-handed and you put your dominant arm behind your back, but the idea is if you create a limitation, only finger rolls, only hand rolls, only throws, if you create limitations, first you're going to stumble, but then you have to figure out a problem-solving way to get to where you need to get. And that problem-solving is going to help you enhance your creativity as well as your ability to adapt to different situations, which will also help if you're a performer. So put limitations on yourself, and that will also enhance your creativity, as well as you may come up with a move that no one's ever done before. So I think that'll be helpful too. I don't think of every move every second. A matter of fact, here's what I do. I'll give you one thing that I do a lot of, and that is I train a move to the point where I no longer have to think about it. So one way that you can know if you don't have to think about it is if you can have a conversation, and if you can have a conversation and still be able to do your nunchuck moves, then you're no longer thinking about it anymore. What that means is it's so ingrained. See, I had to pause there because I had to spot, and then it took my focus. But it's so ingrained in your motions that you're able to think about other things. So while I'm doing, the more I train specific moves, right now these are all moves that I have to train that are very specific, but then there's other moves where I have to concentrate more and I can no longer think. But as I do, the more I train moves where I can eventually do it mindlessly without having to think about it, the more opportunities I have to think about the move I really want to do, the harder ones. So right now, all these for me, because I've done it so long, all those are transition moves. So while I'm doing those moves, I can actually think about the move I want to do. So when I want to so in my eyes, there's two methods. There's two methods, especially when I'm performing or when I'm flowing. One is what I do without thinking, and then the other is what I'm actually thinking about while I'm doing those moves. Because I don't have to think about those moves anymore, I can think about the moves I want to do. So if you haven't reached a point where you still have to focus on each individual technique, then just keep doing that. Don't worry, the repetition will eventually happen. It's kind of like patting your head and rubbing your belly. You eventually will be able to start doing moves without thinking about it, so you can think about other moves. But it's also a skill that you have to train. So what I'm saying is train those moves, keep training, keep working at it, but eventually start to break away, start to break your mind away. So like I said, an easy way to do that is to spin your nunchucks and have a conversation with someone. If you can do that, if you can start thinking about other things, then it would be really easy for you to also think about the moves that you want to do. And then whatever you're doing automatically, that's your backup. That's how you can keep your flow going no matter what. And the more options you have, I have quite a bit of options that I can do without thinking about it now, but the more options you have, the less, people they just don't realize what's happening inside of you. They can only see what's happening on the outside. But to me, that's a great way to keep the flow going, is to get to that point of training. Okay, holy moly, if you could help me with reverse rebounds, oh boy. Yeah, I can. It's been a long time. Reverse rebounds. Okay, so we've got the archer weave, we've got a good looking combo, something awe-inspiring, and then we have the reverse rebound. Okay, Adolf, thanks for being so flexible. I can do all kinds of throws and wrist rolls. I can't do doubles. I know the moves. I don't know how to put them together. Yeah, well, doubles is a totally different ballpark. I wouldn't necessarily say it's better. A lot of people will look at it and think that we'll say that doubles is harder or better, but it can be though, but so can singles. It just depends. If you're using single nunchucks, can't say this enough, if you're using single nunchucks, but you're only using one hand, it won't necessarily be as aesthetic as if you use two chucks, obviously, because two chucks will make twice as many patterns. But if you only use one nunchuck, the thing I could recommend so much is more footwork, more body integration, because that's what singles has over doubles, is the fact that you can stop the chucks, redirect it, move it, stop, So you can put your whole body into it more, whereas doubles, you're kind of stuck in your patterns. So it looks more flowy, it looks more watery, but it's really hard to just stop, redirect, stomp, do power, control the chucks. Usually the pattern controls you, where you have singles, you control the chuck. I really feel that way. If you approach single chucks, approach it with the idea of throwing your whole body into it. If you do doubles, think about your patterns. You can do your body work, but it's not nearly as strong as when you do singles. All right. Let's see. Adolf says, that's me, Ken. Learning technique after technique, not knowing how to put them together. Yeah. I mean, it's just going to be repetition. Like, I can't stress enough. Once you learn the technique, you've just begun. That's just kind of like you just learned some English, and now you're in junior high. You still got to put it into a sentence. And then when you're in high school, you have to learn how to write a story with it, right? So don't just learn the words. Don't learn a bunch of words and definitions and be done. That's like studying the dictionary. Okay, great. You have these big words. Now, how do you put it together? That's one. How do you make sentences? And then it's like, okay, so you can make sentences, but how do you like write this elaborate story? If you can approach it in that way, then you'll see your techniques no longer as... You'll put more feeling into it because you realize you're trying to, like, that's the whole point of the nunchucks. You're trying to communicate something, whether it's a fierceness or whether it's an energy. But if you're just thinking about techniques, then it becomes this intellectual thing. It's almost like reading a dictionary. No one wants to sit down and have someone read a dictionary to them, right? Except for other wordsmiths, which is, that makes sense too, right? That's why other nunchuckers love to see techniques. But most people, they want to hear a cool story. So make it cool. Ike Flo says, completely agree with you. Limitations really help me. It's like learning a language. Most people jump to learning phrases, but understanding letters will help new words and phrases. Absolutely, absolutely agree. It'd be the same as like, if you just think about it, if I was like, hey guys, what I want you to do right now is write me a story about anything, right? Okay, now stop there. And then I might say, okay, what I want you guys to do is write me a story about a bear in the woods, and it's about to attack this poor villager that doesn't know he's about to attack him. So if you look at both of these examples, you immediately have a better vision because I limited the scope. Oh, there's a bear in the woods. He's about to attack someone. You can feel things with that. But if I said, yeah, hey, make a story about anything, you get nothing. You get nothing. That's just like saying, I don't know, do all the martial arts. Don't just do kung fu or karate. Do them all. Do every single one of them right now. It's like, what? So, yeah, there's that. Limitations is good. Trust me. All right. And Jacob says, I spread the word of Ken Hill daily. Thank you. No, I really appreciate that. That's awesome. The word of Ken Hill. All right, we are going to get into some techniques. It looks like we have 3 requests right now. Archer weave, good looking singles, that's inspiring, and a reverse rebound. Now, whenever someone says do something cool, it's kind of tricky for me because what I think is cool is going to be different than what other people think is going to be cool. So I may need to play around a bit and think about a couple combos that I think are cool. We'll see. All right, first let's go into the archer weave. Archer weaves are great when you know a 3-beat weave, but you want to do something a little bit more exciting, okay? So this is a 3-beat weave, and this is the setup for an archer weave. Let me move over here. So if you can't do a 3-beat weave, unfortunately, you're just going to have to watch for now because I have videos on how to do the 3-beat weave, but the prerequisite for an archer weave is a 3-beat weave. Now, what we're going to kind of do is we're going to kind of snake through this. So it's going to be a little bit different than an archer weave. But I don't know if you guys have seen where I go into the quadrant series where I'm starting to move the chucks around the points of my body, the shoulder, the hip. But basically we're gonna start creating lines from the shoulders and down. So the next thing I'd like you to do is as you're doing the 3-beat, right? Go ahead, I'm just using my right hand right now, so I'm right-handed. So if you're left-handed and you're going the opposite way, just remember it's on the opposite side. If we're doing this, go ahead and just drop one chuck right now and hold your left one out like this, right? So I'm creating a circle. If you're looking at a 3-beat weave and I'm doing this sideways, you know that it creates a circle to the left and a circle to the right. Circle to the left, a circle to the right. Left, right, right? So if I hold my arm out this way, what I'm doing is creating a circle just to my right now, to the front of my body basically. And then what we're gonna do, usually as we're doing the 3-beat, our wrists are matched up. What we're gonna do is we're gonna pull one arm back to get it to the shoulder. So we're in the 3-beat. And now what we're going to do with this hand is we're just going to see if you can go over the shoulder like this. So we go to the 3-beat, hold this arm out for a second, pull this over to the shoulder and back and forth, right? Now you notice that I'm actually going to be doing like figure 8s, but for now just hold it here because I want you to kind of get the feel for this here. What's going to happen, here we go, give me just a second here. Whoosh, what's going to happen is we're kind of trying to get the point where I've got one nunchuck behind me and one nunchuck in front of me. So I'm doing the 3 beat here. This arm extends, just kind of roll it out for a second, and then I put this other one behind me. So you see that I'm still trying to do the figure eights, but it's going to be a little bit different, okay? Essentially, the hand in the front is just going to be doing a figure eight, right? But you guys know a 3 beat's a little bit different. So the one in the back is going to go behind the shoulder and over. This is going to take a little bit of practice. You're going to create a circle here, like this. You can even hold your arm out like this, right? And then we're going to do this. It's going to figure eight in front, which is kind of like the one up here. This one's just going here to there, to the front, to the back, front to the back, front to the back. This one's going back to front, back to front, back to front. Except we're going to revolve this a little bit. It's going to go back to front and then under the armpit. So this isn't quite the full move yet, but just start getting this feel now. So it's going to be behind the shoulder and front and behind again and in front. This is not the move yet. I'm not going like this when I'm doing that move, but it's pretty close. What I'm actually doing is this. Oops, here, here, here. But I kind of want you to get the feel for this first. So it's kind of like a figure eight, but you're making 3 beats. You're making 3 circles, okay? 2 of the circles are going to be behind the shoulder, and one's going to be in the front. It'll be behind, behind, front. But first I want you to practice just getting used to here, getting used to in front of the shoulder. You're going to notice I have to kind of turn my wrist out a little bit so I don't hit my arm, so kind of create space. And then this is going to, as soon as this is 12 o'clock, it's going to sweep under, and we're going to try to get it behind. In all one motion, the timing of it coordinates with the 3 beat weave. So if you know the 3 beat weave, you extend your arm out, you can just kind of feel how this will move, because it's very similar. Actually, it's almost identical to some degree. Again, this is not the easiest move, and I may not have described it the best. So let me know if you're understanding that or if you're seeing this. But so you notice I'm not really doing that extra speed out here. Again, what I'm doing to the backhand is behind the shoulder, swings up and behind, underneath the armpit, and then it creates a half circle to the outside and back up behind the shoulder. So as you can see, I'm not adding the beat at first. So sorry. It goes 1 above the shoulder, below the shoulder, and it swings out to above the shoulder again. So there's that extra beat. So there's a beat here, it swings out for a beat here, and goes back. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. If you need to practice just that, you should probably just practice just that. But don't forget, like learn the 2 beat on the top as well as on the bottom. It's important to also have this down, which is why I was showing you earlier, because once you learn how to navigate that, you have this triangle of motions that you can go back and forth with as you're spinning the chucks, which again gives you this really cool option to be able to swing it that way. Now, if you do the reverse version, I'm not going to get into this too hard, but if you do the reverse version, you can do the same on the opposite side, but it has to be a reverse 3 beat here. So if I'm in a reverse 3 beat weave, I can do the same thing. I can pull it over the shoulder and it's going to be the same thing, except of course, it's going to kind of have that same similar feel, except for everything's going to be moving in reverse. So it doesn't start at the top, it starts at the bottom, goes to the top, and then goes to the outside. And just like, we're going to take this a step further, just like you can go from a 3 beat into a reverse 3 beat, if you understand these weaves, you can also go from here, and then your arm will shift through as you spin it the opposite direction, and you can take it to the reverse over here. So the transition is underneath the armpit here to get to this point, and then over the shoulder here. So it's like underneath the armpit, boom, see? And then when it's over the shoulder here, swings out to this way. Underneath the armpit, over the shoulder. That's how you can kind of trade it back and forth. Now the move that we do goes a step further, because then we start snaking it a little bit, and then on top of that we add hand rolls on top of that. So there's still 2 more levels left to get this weave down into that combo. I'm just going to go through one more part of it, which is to snake it a little bit. So once we're going to this point, once you got that down, then what we're going to work on is kind of snaking it through. And what I mean by a snake is the ability to shift it back and forth through your arms like this. Kind of feels like a thread the needle if you've ever done that with nunchucks, except for it's a lot harder. So The way I'd like to describe this one is if you just hold your arm out, you swing your arm back here, slide it back. So here, slide back, right? The moment you slide it back, you're going to swing it under your arm, right? And as soon as it starts to go up, you're going to slide it forward. So slide back, rotate, slide forward. Again, slide back, rotate, slide forward. That's kind of the general feel of this move right there. So practice that. So here, behind the back of the hand, slide it back. Again, this is an advanced combo. So if this is difficult, don't sweat it. We're starting with an advanced one today. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Whoosh, whoosh. Like that. And if we have two of them, then what you can practice is spinning the nunchuck in front while you, oops. you gotta watch the timing of this, while you swing back and do this motion. And you'll notice the moment you swing forward, then this hand is gonna swing back and do the exact opposite thing here. And then the moment this comes up forward, this is gonna swing back, rotate. You gotta watch out for this thing, and because I'm going slow, it's gonna be a lot harder for me to clear this without hitting the chuck. But it's gonna be, so basically, anytime the hand meets up, the other one slides back, does a rotation behind, slides forward. And as this slides forward, then this slides back, rotates under, slides forward. And then eventually, you have this kind of motion, whereas you're pushing through. So you can go from here to here to here. And then the last part, of course, is adding hand rolls, which I'll go over in a Patreon video. The hand rolls definitely makes it a lot harder. But now you know. If you can just get to that point, though, I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. That's a pretty exciting one. I'm gonna go look. I'm gonna read up, make sure catch up on some of the questions. But that's the archer weave. We're adding a little bit of a snake to it, but I think it's great. I think it's a great move. Okay, let's see here. Hawkeye, how are you, sir? Hi, I'm doing good. Hope you're doing good too, Hawkeye. Adolf says, 30 seconds taken from Nunchaku compilation search for this. I wanted something like that beast of a combo. Okay, I can check that out. Hawkeye says, sir, any motivation during these hard times? Oh man. I think there's so many different there's so many different things to address when we're talking about like hard times, because there's so many different movements happening, and I think it's really important to realize that when one person's going through a hard time, that another person may be going through an entirely different hard time, and acknowledging one doesn't negate the other. I think we're forgetting that. So if I were to give you like any advice for getting through hard times, I think it starts with being able to listen, and not just to other people, but to yourself. Like, it's so important to be able to listen to yourself. And sometimes, like, what we want, like, we have ideas. I'll give you a perfect example. Sometimes we need things to be right. We need things to be right because, not because it actually is right, but because we need it for something that makes us feel more secure in ourselves. And that can be a really dangerous thing. And this can also affect your spinning too. So this is like life and spinning, but I feel like spinning is a great example, because if you're spinning nunchucks, right? And let's say someone that you respect or admire teaches you a way that is incorrect, that is developing issues, but because you admire this person so much, or because this move has so much meaning in that specific way, you can't see it, you won't be able to change it. Now that's kind of a small thing really, because the likelihood is most people will want to adjust it anyways. But if you think about like with life and with people too, it gets a lot more complicated, especially during hard times, because sometimes people believe things because it gives them security, it makes them feel safe. But in reality, it's not actually true at all. And when you have to believe a lie to feel safe, that's when things get dangerous, and that's when we start lying to ourselves. So in terms of hard times, I think it's really important to seek not security but clarity, because security can lock you up in a way to where you're going to actually get caught. You're going to get caught up in your own thoughts, and you're going to fool yourself. And people fool themselves all the time right now. There's a lot of people fooling themselves because they just want what they want, but they don't realize the reason why they want it is just because they need to feel something and not because it's actually right. So if you can check yourself on that, then I think that we could have better conversations. All of us could have much better conversations like that. And it's the same thing. If we go back to spinning again, if you have an idea about something, even though it's not true, what happens when you try it? It doesn't work, right? But if you constantly are looking for reasons why it should work and you're ignoring the reasons why it's not working, you'll never be able to do the move the way that it should be, or at all even. So it's more important to just look at things as clearly as possible. Even if it's harder at first, I think in the long run, it always works out better. I think it always works out better. The worst thing you can do is fool yourself. Really, really true. Like, I think that's an absolute thing. Like, I'd rather see something and make it tougher than to be completely oblivious to it, but, I don't know, fool myself, be happy about it, because then I'll start believing in things that aren't true. So I guess that's what I would say is, tough it out, and then when there are issues, if we're all looking at things with clarity, we can come together a lot better and be real human beings to each other instead of looking for flaws in what other people say or do. And I don't know, we can actually support each other and really as human beings back and forth. I think that'd be really, really important. All right. Adolf, it's so unique of you to teach this awesomeness to others. Many people would learn a lot from you other than nunchucks. Oh, thanks. It all comes from the same place, really, philosophy and martial arts and nunchucks and staff and even the music that I do. And that's just it too. That's something for you to think about too, is you might spin nunchucks, but it's it comes from something in you, and that part of you is the authentic. There's something authentic in that, no matter what you're doing, whether it's raising your kids or taking on how you create your life. All of that is just part of your artistry. So it's really nice, because I think nunchucks is just one way to do it, and it's a great way, and it gets out a lot of energy. But you can kind of just use that as a tool to see yourself. Ray says, yes, I'm getting it. That's awesome. Eric says, I think I'm getting it, kind of. Good. The archer weaves is not easy. Just remember, start 3 beat, and then just imagine that you slide it back. Shoulder, shoulder, out. Shoulder, shoulder, out. And then if we're in reverse, it's going to be, underneath the shoulder, above the shoulder, and out. And that's kind of how it crosses through. Hawkeye says, can we make homemade nunchucks? If yes, how? You definitely can. I haven't made any nunchucks. I do have one video on how to make a nunchuck out of magazines, because I feel like not everyone has access to chucks. So you can easily make a pair of chucks out of magazines. They're not going to be the best. It's an old video, but it still works out. Generally, though, chucks are just 2 pieces of wood on a string, generally speaking. There's a lot of builds out there for it. I have never really built too many chucks on my own. I generally have owned a lot of chucks, but I haven't really built too many. Kind of like I'm a race car driver, but I'm not a mechanic. All right, let's see here. Hawkeye asked, how did I learn nunchucks? I locked myself in a room and I trained all day. That's exactly what happened. Now, I was a martial artist for 13 years prior. But I learned nunchucks basically through self-discovery. I did not watch very many videos. I still don't watch very many videos of others. To me, the best way that I learn is through my own explorations, because then it's intuitive. It comes from a place within me when I come up with these things. So even if someone else created that move, it's fine with me, because I have to discover it in my own way so it makes sense. And then when it can make sense, then I can do more with it. Holy Moly says, thread the needle was pretty cool. Can we do that too? Sure, yeah. Let me type that in. Sorry, I'm talking a lot, so I'm gonna go back into these techniques here. Thread the needle, and then do you have any step-by-step routines? I haven't found any anywhere. If not, would you ever do one? I could. I generally do combos more than routines, to be honest. With nunchucks, even when I do performances, if you had to memorize a 5-minute or even a 3-minute routine with nunchucks, it would be excessive. It would be insane unless you just repeated your moves over and over again. I'm not one that likes to repeat their moves over and over again. So what I usually do is I break my moves into combos, and first I break my moves. Okay, so I have my whole move set, and then I break them into styles, and those styles fit different moods or feelings, and then within those styles are combos. So And those combos are the building blocks. So when I choreograph to music, I build the combos off of the feeling of the music, which is designated by the style. So it goes all my moves, styles, and then within those, a bunch of little combos. And they can change, which means I've never really done a step-by-step routine from beginning to end with the song, because you and I know, like, you can do 100 moves, 200 moves within a minute of nunchucks if you're really going for it. It's just such a fast prop. So I go into feeling and styles. And then the most important parts of the song, though, I do choreograph, but that's usually like 20 seconds. That's usually like 20 seconds. So like when the beat drops, it might be a big throw that you throw up and catch. If you can nail that, then you can improvise your way to the next big moment, as long as you got the styles pushed together right. All right, Hawkeye, what is the deadliest weapon till now in Kung Fu? You know, unfortunately, I don't know the answer to that. I would say it would be the wielder. It would be the person. They would be the deadliest weapon, because, you know, you could give someone the deadliest weapon, but in the wrong hands, it's just going to be fumbly, or they might even hurt themselves. Adolf, please show a cool throw, just your personal favorite. Okay, let's get into this, because I've got some techniques. I only taught one right now. I'm going to check one more time really quick, too. Make sure I don't have any questions on Facebook. All right. Cool. Here we go. Let's do this. First question, well, which was asked a while ago, is a good-looking combo that's awe-inspiring. You know, we could kind of move this together, too. So a good-looking combo, I mean, the thing is yeah, I was going to try to figure out, like, the problem is I don't know what you know, which can be tricky. I always like this move. I mean, you could do something like that, I guess. I'm not sure. I mean, there's so many different ones, but that is one of my favorites. Is like this combo here, where you do a syncopated wrist roll, but then you catch it and then you flick it right away into a back grip throw. That's a good start. And then once you catch it, you can break it off into another combo. Let's start with that one, because I feel like that's a good setup. That's a good setup one. So obviously the syncopated wrist roll, your left hand is pointed outward like this, and we're getting the rope to wrap behind the back of the hand, right? The moment the rope touches, my wrist turns around this way. Now the thing is the wrist and the rope twist simultaneously, so that way it's following, the nunchuck is always sitting on the back of the wrist. But if I just twist it around, it's going to fall off my hand, and we need to turn this into a combo. So what we're going to do instead is, as it twists, I'll just kind of twist it behind here like this, and I'll take my hand and I'll just rotate it this much, and then I'll tuck my thumb back, and that will cause the chuck to roll up into my hand instead. So here, oops, you have to kind of get it closer to the wrist for this to work. And then you see it turned into a grip instead of a full rotation, because I held my hand low. So I'm out here, moved it this way, tucked my thumb back here so it can grab the chuck, and the chuck will roll in. So here, right, as it's rotating, I tuck my thumb back so I can grab it. The moment I grab it, this nunchuck is rotating out here. I rotate it 180 degrees and lift. So here, flip, and grab. From there, you can take it straight into a throw, right? And then it's whatever you want to do after that. I mean, this is a good setup for a lot of throws. Make sure that it makes a connection to the back of your wrist, or you won't be able to get that throw off. Let's just do it. We'll do it from here, and then we'll throw it up, and then we'll go into a behind the back throw here. There, that's a pretty nice one. So the way this is going to work, you should have this part down, and then the moment you catch it from here, so we're going to catch it with the opposite hand. Catch. What you're going to do is with your right foot, you're going to turn 180 degrees while keeping this chuck steady here. 180 degrees here. This is also one of my favorite throws, so it all works together. And then what you're going to do is you're going to pull your left arm behind you like this, and you're just going to kind of push and check it. You're going to check the chuck. So when I say check it, it's kind of it should tap your shoulder right here. So here to here. Actually, it's more like the bicep area. If you want to, the reason why you're doing this is because the chuck needs to be aligned, so when you let go, it's going to go in the direction you need it to be. And it's going to be where the armpit is, or where the bicep is. So kind of hold your arm backwards like this. Make sure that it taps the front of your bicep. The moment it taps it, you know that you're in the right position. Now, the goal is to let it go right before it hits your bicep so it flies upwards, and you can even give it a little bit of a twist. So what should happen here is it should just launch, but as you can see, it's not flying sideways because most of the motion is going upwards. So again, we're going to start off, get the roll, get the throw, take a step, pull the arm back, swing it behind. As soon as it goes upwards, I'm going to turn and meet it. So throw it upwards, turn, and grab. So all in one motion, we're going to go here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. getting my counts messed up. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're here. Whoosh, grab, boom, one, grab. Maybe go into a clutch from there. I feel like that would be a good one. You got 2 throws out of it, and you got some footwork involved too. So I think that's a cool one. One of my favorite throws is one I can't really do, but it's a helicopter throw. And the reason why I think it's one of my favorite throws is because you can just launch it so high. There's a lot of ways to do it. One way to do it is from an over-the-shoulder pass here. I'm just going to go over into a couple of cool throws that I like. Once you're here, the hand that's on the bottom is going to pull outwards and lift up like this. And it's going to shoot it upwards. We're really trying to lift the hand up after that. So it'll look like this. Whoosh. The reason why I like this move is because if you're outside, you can launch that thing like 10, 20 feet in the air. It's great. Another variation of it that you see me do a lot, because it is one of my favorite moves, is we're going to do horizontal. We're in the front roll, horizontal over the head. Wait, let me think. How does it go? Hold on, now I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah. Okay, there it is. Okay, it's going to be from a deltoid on the same side. We're going to do a front to back hand roll here. The chuck's going to be rolling underneath your arm, and that's where we're going to actually do a throw. So the throw actually comes from here, but you can get a lot of force out of this. So here, front to back. We're going to give it like a little rotation this direction, and then the moment the chuck passes my elbow, so the moment it passes from underneath my elbow, I'm going to grab my arm and I'm going to rip it backwards like this. So here above, rip it backwards and catch. So here, rip back. The nice thing about this, because, you can just see the air time, and if I had a lot more height, you can imagine that I can keep that thing launched in the air for quite a while. Whoosh. It just hovers, and that's what I love about that move. Such a great move. It does take a little bit of time, and you don't want to give it too hard of a pull when you first start because you have to learn how to chase it, but that is definitely one of my favorite moves. And when I'm doing a show and I throw that thing 20 feet in the air and it's just like hovering up and down, the crowd loves it. Like, they just see something on fire that's flying super high. That's always impressive, right? All right, so we got that. Let's go ahead and get to the next question now. We're looking at the reverse rebound. Okay. The reverse rebound is a tricky move because you're trying, and I have to feel this one out because every single chuck is a little bit different, and I'm not using the same chuck as I do. A lot of these chucks look the same, but even a slight difference in the rope length, which is what this one is, requires a different kind of feel. So I have to find where that sweet spot is before I can really accurately show the reverse rebound. A reverse rebound is basically, you're trying to pull sideways. I'm having a hard time with this one right now too. Let me get the other chuck. Hold on. A reverse rebound is basically you're trying to find the balance point of the chuck, and you're letting it bounce off the back of your hand. You're letting it bounce off the back of your hand, but you have to land it right on that balance point or it's not going to work. It's actually right off to the side of the balance point. This one's been a while. I have a favorite pair of chucks that work with this one, but I don't have it on me. But once you find that sweet spot, it's a lot easier. But basically, what you're doing is you're going into a clockwise spin. You're pulling it backwards to try to give it more of a sideways motion. And then what you have to do is you have to find where the balance point is and be slightly behind it. And as the chuck lands, you can't just hit it upwards or it's gonna cause it to shake. You have to drop your hand with the speed of the chuck to slow the motion down. So it has to slow down with the chuck, and then it'll allow you to rebound it backwards. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to find that sweet spot and to really nail it right. Because if you're in front of it, or even if your hand's just slightly off, it's gonna twist. So you have to be behind it. But if you're too far behind it, it'll spin so fast that it goes out of control. So you maybe have like this much space that your hand can land in, and you have to catch that while it's in midair, which is why it's so tricky to get a reverse rebound. See, that one was too far out. And I used to be pretty decent at it. A lot of it has to do with getting a nice sideways pull, but if you pull too hard again, there's gonna be too much force. So it's definitely a tricky move, and I haven't practiced it in a minute. Here, swing. There it is. Here, swing. Oh, yeah, that's a tough one. Reverse rebounds though, yep. There's this one I did a long time ago. I was able to do it from one of these, and I was able to do it from a behind the back throw and get a reverse rebound, and I got it caught in the video, and it was the sweetest thing ever. I was so excited about that. But it takes a lot of practice to really get that one down. I understand the concept, but I just haven't put in the time, just because it's another one of those moves where only nunchuck spinners will really be able to appreciate. The last one is the thread the needle. Now, thread the needle is a little bit easier. Actually, it's a lot easier than a reverse rebound. Reverse rebounds are tough, man. It's just like such a balancing act. That one wasn't too bad, but you can see like just the amount of control you have to nail it just right, and there's so many ways it can go wrong. Now, thread the needle happens when you have one chuck that's going counterclockwise, one chuck that's going clockwise. So they're going in opposite directions, and you have to know how to do the butterfly. If you don't know how to do the butterfly, I can't really help you with the thread the needle, because we have to start this direction first. Now, what a thread the needle really is all that's happening is, what I want you to do is, as you're doing this, I want you to look at the opposite chuck. So if this hand was here, look at the opposite chuck, and what you can see is there's going to be a space that your hand can move before the chuck wraps around it. So just go ahead and spin it like this, and see if you can kind of get the hand to wrap. As soon as this chuck passes where the hand is, your hand can shoot forward just for a second. And then by the time it gets to the top of here, this hand should be shooting forward. See what's happening here? And then as it passes, this hand shoots forward. But then as soon as it rotates to here, this hand should already be forward. So what's happening is these hands are constantly pushing forward against each other. And as they work together, it creates this motion that looks like, creates a motion that looks like this. Or from the side, it looks like this. From the front, it looks like this. From a slow motion standpoint, you can just try it with one chuck to start with, but it'll be something like that. Front. Wow, that's actually harder because you get used to the swing, but you can kind of see as soon as the chuck passes the hand, it shoots forward, but then by the time it goes to the top, the other side should be forward, and then they just keep switching. So then you can do it with the other one too, swing it the opposite way, and it'll be the same thing, whoosh. The moment it gets to the top, this one should be forward, and then whoosh, 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 whoosh. You see? And then when you put them together, boom, 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 boom. You got that. Now you have to be really careful, because these things can get in the way. As your hands move backwards, sometimes you can accidentally hit these things. So try to keep the back of the chucks as straight as possible, because if they are pointed this way, your hand can it can be a lot harder a lot harder because your hand kind of gets in the way of it. So straighten the back ends a little bit more, or even hold middle grip to low grip might help too. And then just really push through. And you'll be able to feel it. It's a timing thing. I almost feel like there could probably be it's almost like there's a beat that happens with it, but it's hard for me to describe because it doesn't happen just like if I were to extend it up and down. It's like, I can't quite tell you when that point is, but you can just kind of feel it. There's definitely a beat, but it's not always happening down, but it almost has like this kind of feel. Getting the rhythm down will be hard, but practice one hand at a time. Try one chuck, slide in, slide out. It's whenever the chuck just passes that arm is when it goes through, and then when it's just about to hit it, the other hand should be almost forward, and they just keep passing each other. And that's basically a thread the needle. All right. Go ahead and sit back down here. All right, let's see here. IQ flow, always best to be critical of one's own theories and try to prove oneself wrong before making assumptions. I agree, and I totally agree. I think that there's a scientific method where people should always believe that there's a chance that they could be wrong about everything. Is a really healthy thing, you know? And to be okay with that. It's okay to say I don't know. It really is. In my personal opinion, I say I don't know more than I don't, but I don't guess, and I don't believe people that say they do know just because I don't know. I'm not gonna believe someone just because they say they do, because chances are, there's a lot of things I've done a lot of research in and just threw up my hands like, okay, I don't know. But then there's other times where people need to know, and it has nothing to do with actually having the answer, but them needing the answer because it suits them. It resolves some sort of, you know, emotional issue as opposed to actually being right. So, yeah, anyways. Eric, what's the first martial art you learned with the nunchucks? I mean, I did a lot of RBWI ninjutsu back in the 90s. So I'd have to say that's what I studied mostly, was RBWI ninjutsu. We did a little bit of nunchuck work. I was constantly corrected for my chucks back in those days, because you're not supposed to hold high. Like in martial arts, you're supposed to hold low. This was before, we weren't really a weapons demonstration team, so it was kind of frowned upon to hold it high. And I still that's still ingrained in my head that if you want more power, if you want to do damage, you hold it low, because the longer the chuck is, the more power it's going to have, the more damage it's going to do. But if you want to be like showcase skill, or if you want more control, then you hold it up high on the chuck. All right. Adolf, sorry to be bombarding you with questions. It's just that in my country, it's 3 to 4 a.m. during your live sessions, and I rarely get a chance. You don't have to apologize at all. I would love to answer questions the whole hour, because the last session I did, we ran out of questions, and I don't know, I started teaching random things, but it always feels better when I know I'm helping someone directly. So no, I appreciate it. Hawkeye, thanks, Doc. You're welcome. Holy moly, the reverse rebound. For the reverse rebound, I have woodchucks, so it hurts to do this move. It should not hurt to do the move, to do the reverse rebound. Let me see if I have woodchucks. Give me a sec. And the reason why it should not hurt to do the reverse rebound, even with woodchucks, is because you're trying to float with it. So these are oak chucks. See, these are oak chucks, and I still have to figure out where that balance point is. So if I put my hand up here and I find the balance point, the rebound motion that I need to do is literally going to be like right here. So it's like, here's the balance point, the rebound will be right there. But the reason why it shouldn't hurt is because as the chuck is falling, your hand has to fall to the same speed of the chuck in order to get it to stop. If it just hits your hand, you're going to damage your hand and you're going to mess up the rebound. So getting a good reverse rebound, let me see if I can get this with this chuck. No, that's not sideways enough, hold on. Getting a good reverse rebound should not be about doing a lot of damage. It should be about sinking your hand with the chuck to stop it and lifting it up. If it hits it again, you will hurt yourself, and it also isn't going to work very easily. I'm actually having a slightly easier time, even though I can't control that. That was a sad one. So, no damage. Hand looks fine. And that's kind of what you want to do too. As it comes down, sink the hand down, lift it up. Just remember, it goes to the same speed and slows down. And that's the trick. I mean, that's one of the trickiest parts. One is understanding how to kind of soften the momentum, and the other is finding the sweet spot. And that sweet spot's going to change depending on the angle of your throw. Reverse rebounds are a pain, man. But if you can pull it off, you do get nunchuck cred. That's for sure. All right, let's see here. There we go. So yeah, if it hurts to do the move, remember to pad your hand, because again, these are oaks, so they should be able to do some damage, but they're not, because there's no force. It's not blasting my hand. It's not a bounce at all. It's a softened rebound. Eric, do you ever just sit there and think, wow, I'm a beast? No, not really. I mean, I feel pretty good about my style because I was picked up, by a circus or whatnot, and I'm able to do it professionally. But when I work with other people, I see how much farther everyone takes it. Like, there's always so much further to go. I don't know. I guess it just makes me feel like I'm in this never-ending hole of things I could learn or do to make it better. Like, if I learn tricking, for instance, my nunchucks, even though I may not have more techniques, adding tricking to chucks would just game over, man. Game over. I've noticed that a lot of people don't even need to know very many nunchuck tricks if they know how to trick, and people still think like, oh my god, the best nunchucks, But that's cool. I'm not jealous. I'm just saying I wish I would have learned tricking when I was younger. That's all. Let's see here. IQ Flow says same applies for staff holding at the end versus the middle. Absolutely, yeah. If you're gonna fight someone with a staff, if you hold it in the middle, you're gonna have a lot less power. You do have options, but generally speaking, holding at the end, you'll do a lot more damage. Eric, yeah, I saw a video on what you're describing, and I agree with you. Cool. I can't remember what I was describing, but one of those things, I'm sure. Adolf, thanks on point, man. You're amazing. Now that's awe-inspiring. Good, man. Good. I'm glad I could help. Keeping awesome and gathering inspired individuals. Well, thank you. I think it's great. I mean, because, it's all you guys, really, though. Like, you guys are the ones that keep me going, so. You know what would happen if I didn't have anyone join my live streams? Well, I would have live streamed maybe twice, but because you guys keep coming back, like, I gotta make these videos because I know that people want to watch it, so that's awesome. So I'm here for y'all. That's what I'm trying to say. That makes sense? Thank you, Sensei. You're most welcome. Eric, any chance of how to catch the chuck behind the back when doing an aerial? Yeah, okay. Let's do a behind the back catch. We'll work that one out. That sounds good. I've been using the palm of my hand for that move. Palm of my hand. Oh, for the reverse rebound, you mean? You can rebound it off anything. You can rebound it off your elbow if you want. You just gotta be careful with it. Before we continue though, since it's like 6:08, I'm probably gonna teach one or two more things, but just want to let you guys know again, through COVID, I used to be a full-time performer, and now I am out of work. Even the performance I did yesterday was more for just performing's sake than that I can make a living off of it. So if you guys do like what you see, this is my little tip jar. If you find anything useful, if you are going through struggling, it's okay. Don't worry about it. But if you are able to drop a little donation, that would be amazing. Also, I have a Patreon at patreon.com/flowtricks, and we have over 100 exclusive videos. We also have something called Pro Tricks, which is a small group of people where every Thursday we do a Zoom class. So not only do you I get to talk to you, but I get to watch you too, and it helps me to, it definitely supercharges people's training. So if you guys like any of that, please consider donation. That would be awesome. But if you are struggling or if you are not able to do it, no worries either. I'm gonna keep doing this until I can't. So, all right, let's go ahead and go to behind the back catches while doing an aerial. So I'm gonna show the most basic one because I think that this is the easiest way to do it. My favorite behind the back catch, we're gonna just work on this one because I feel like there's a lot of options with that one, and it's not terribly difficult to do. It just takes a little bit of drilling, okay? So it's kind of, how we do like over the shoulder passes like this. What we're gonna do from here is I wanna just see if you can kind of put your hand behind your back, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna kind of tilt it so like it is horizontal. So horizontal, hand is horizontal. Hand is kind of horizontal over here too, because when the chuck comes this direction, the chuck is actually going to be spinning this direction, which would be horizontal catch. So make sure it's not vertical, even though it may feel right to be more vertical because it's in line here. You'll actually have more chance of catching things if you move your hand horizontally from this motion. And what you're going to try to do is from here, you're going to kind of open up space for now. It's not always going to be like this. You're going to open up space and just see if you can just kind of let the chuck, see if you can kind of, well, here, let's try this first. Grab the chuck like this and just feel that for a second, right? And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your fingers and you're going to flick it forward and you're going to push it that way. Because the motion is going to be pulling it back into this. It's kind of hard to get to that catch though, but see if you can flick it and drop it. The move that you're going to try to do is you're going to try to open up a space in between here, and the easiest way to do that is going to, okay, hold on. Scratch that. I'm giving you a more difficult move. Let's do the easier one. Okay, hands still gonna be horizontal, but this time we're gonna hold it this way. So my arm, instead of being on the inside, we're gonna go to the outside of the arm. We don't wanna do the inside yet. Sorry guys, doing this on the fly here. I just realized this is much easier. What you're gonna try to do is you're gonna try to it's almost like you're doing a behind the back catch this way, except you're gonna do it from here. You're gonna just try to flick it up by the elbow and see if you can catch it like this, right? Now, obviously, this is not how you're going to actually catch it, but eventually you're going to throw it, and it's going to land that direction. So first what you want to do is just kind of feel this and get used to getting this catch going, right? Now here, my hand is vertical just because this catch is coming in vertically, but when we're actually doing the throw, it's going to be different. So now what we're going to do is we're going to hold it horizontally. We're going to bounce it off. I usually just, here, I'm going to take this low. We're going to kind of bounce it off the butt. So maybe I'm doing a figure eight. Bounce it off the butt. Hand goes horizontally like this, and I'm going to create a very straight line this way. It's going to be a very straight circle. So if I'm over here, whoosh, here. This hand is ready to go. What's going to happen is the moment that this starts lifting upwards like this, I'm going to pull back and let go. So it's going to be here, I'm going to pull back and let go, like this. Now if you're used to doing that catch, then you're going to try to simulate that catch, except for you have to wait just a second. You have to kind of adjust your body to it. But what you're looking to do is throw it up in the air, and you can even twist your body to try to match it, but you're just trying to get that coordination with the back of your hand. My body generally controls my hand. I don't move my arm because it's behind my back. It's a lot harder. So it's connected, it's almost like it's connected to my hip. So if I need to move, I turn my body to catch it. So don't use your hand, don't try to adjust your hand. Keep it locked into your body, and if you need to catch it, twist. Just kind of twist with it to catch it. That way, you can just go straight into that. You can do other catches with that, but to me, I feel like this is the best way to start is right here. So first start, see if you can just kind of get this catch. Slightly different, the hand's gonna be vertical, but it'll kind of give you the same idea. And then go horizontal here, bounce down, lift it up, pull backwards, and see if you can catch it from there. You're really trying to spot, because you need to get that into front grip. You're really trying to spot it, and you're trying to catch in front of the circle. What I mean by in front of the circle, if the chuck is spinning this way, the front of the circle would be here, whereas the back of the circle would be here. The back of the circle you have to chase behind it. The front of the circle you can kind of snatch it out of place, and that's what you're looking for here too. Front of the circle right there, boom, to catch it. And just practice that over and over again. It's a great catch anyways. See, that one was a little bit off. I didn't have enough power in that one. But down, up, catch. Down, up, catch. Down, up, catch. Like that. Plus you can eventually, and then we do like this one where we stall and throw it back. You can come up with other really creative moves. Once you get used to your hand being behind your back, when I think of behind the back moves, I also think of geometry. I think of very straight lines. So whenever I'm throwing my chucks, I'm trying to imagine the line that my chucks are creating, because it's very much wherever you let it go and whatever angle it's at, the hand has to adjust for it. So as long as you have a predictable or an easy angle for your hand, it's going to be a lot easier to do. Be very aware of the angular direction of the chucks. All right. So, Holy Moly says, can we do one-handed Simex, the one from a billion years ago? Yeah, sure. Yeah, we can do a one-handed Simex. Eric, thanks for the advice on the routine questions and lack of creativity. It really helps. See you next live stream, bro. Awesome. No, I'm glad to be of help, man. Keep coming. So I just need more questions. Today was perfect. I love it when I have questions throughout the whole stream. I think it's great. This is helping a lot. Thank you. You're most welcome. Let's do this one-handed Simex and then we'll call it. So there's a lot of ways to do a one-handed Simex, but I'm assuming, oh jeez, can't blame me today. I'm assuming you're looking at something like that, where we're going here to there. Or you can even do it from here. It's a little bit trickier, but you can also do it from an upstall. Let me kind of tilt this up. Shorter nunchucks, a shorter nunchuck rope will help with this particular one because the chuck is going to be crossing over itself. But if you think of a moon wave, we're trying to get a Simex direction from a moon wave, which means just about every single kind of Simex that we have to do comes from a stall. So we're stalling into the direction of the chucks. Now the problem with this stall, let me see, you kind of have to drop your hands into it. Man, I'm just butterfingers today, you guys. Totally butterfingers. Hopefully that's the Simex that you're talking about, is like the stall out one. Let's go ahead and work on this one because it requires you to be able to an upstall. If you want to think about an upstall, it's almost like if you have a golf and you're doing a golf swing. It kind of has a similar feel, except for as you're swinging, it's like you're cutting like a very sharp corner, boom, but then you're going thumb up. Cut the corner, thumb up. And it'll kind of get you to this point here. See if you can get just it nice and straight, which is hanging nice and straight. And what you're pretty much doing is, as it's hanging straight, you just kind of, just like the reverse rebound, how your hand slows down and speeds up, this one's the opposite. It starts off fast, but then it eventually goes slow, so it can just kind of hang there for a second. So you're thinking whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. So all your speed's in the beginning, and then it slows down, right? Now what you need to do to get Simex to work from this point is you need to, just like when you do this, when you do the moon wave, how one hand is slightly ahead of the other so they don't hit each other. Because if they're on the same side, they'll hit each other. And it's the same with this. If they're on the same side, it may work, or they may crash into each other. Of course, they're not crashing into each other now, but your odds of them crashing are greater. So now what you're going to do is you're going to kind of angle it. You're not going straight sideways, but you're kind of going diagonal. So if I was standing here, it's not going sideways here straight up, because if they cross into each other, they may crash. We're trying to go diagonal, so that way there's a little bit more space for it to come through. The moment you have more space, so you're kind of going diagonal now instead of horizontal. We're not going here, we're going here. So it's like here as opposed to here, or here as opposed to here. So we're going a little diagonal, you're getting that upstall, and the moment that upstall happens, you're going to take your finger and you're going to pull back right here, whoosh. Whoosh. Now what's going to happen is you're going to really, you're going to try to put your finger up higher on the chuck. That's the thing. It's been a while since I've done this one-handed Simex. Put your finger up higher on the chuck, because as you pull backwards, that's going to be the space you have to grab the other chuck that returns to you, because you're going to end up grabbing the opposite side. If you go too low and you pull it over, then you're going to end up catching the rope, which is no fun. So kind of get your finger kind of mid to high. So when you do the upstall, make sure you can get you may need to hold it up high. Make sure you can get your finger up as high as possible, so when you grab it, the other side will land into your hand, like that. Here, pull. And that's basically it. You're doing the upstall, you're going diagonal so they don't crash into each other, because if you go horizontal and you pull it that direction, there's a chance that they're going to crash into each other and you're going to lose it. So you're here, grab, and what you're really trying to do is get your finger up to about the center point of the chain, and then you pull backwards, and that's going to cause the chuck to change directions like this, meaning that the chuck that's on the bottom pulls to the top, the one that's on the top pulls to the bottom, and you want to grab it. Whoosh, whoosh. Usually after I grab it, I just kind of let it spin for a second, because there's still some momentum that happens afterwards. But that's a way to get a one-handed Simex. Not the easiest move either. We've gone through a couple of challenging moves today, to be honest, which is kind of nice. I like it. All right, let's see. I'm going to read a few more things, and I think I'm going to call it for tonight. All right, let's see here. Okay, so hopefully that was the one-handed Simex you're talking about. If not, just send me a video or send me a link. Remember, my email is ken.flowtricks@gmail.com. ken.flowtricks@gmail.com. More than happy to answer questions. All right, so I think I read that one. Let's see. Thanks. This is helping a lot. Thank you. You're most welcome. You guys are most welcome for the help. Thanks for watching. Adolf says, this is what makes you so likable. I wouldn't know how it feels. It's one thing to know you're amazingly talented, and another to realize teens like me are probably practicing your techniques. You taught techniques in front of the mirror at the yeah. For me it's like I just want something to give back to the world. I don't know. I have this thing where I just want to make sure that I do something that helps people, even if it's like something crazy or artistic or something a little bit different. Just a tool that helps people be awesome. I think that's fantastic. And shoot, man, we're all in this world together. Might as well share, right? Hey, thank you all. Thank you all for watching. As always, it's a pleasure. We're going to do another live stream. We're probably going to do it on Sunday again at 5 p.m. since we're back on track. I don't think I have any shows. But if you have any questions at all, you can always feel free to email me. Sometimes I'm a little bit slower at answering messages. As you can guess, being a performer and just the life that I live can be kind of busy. But it's always good, and it's always good to hear from you guys. So thank you so much. May you all have a great week, and I hope to see you all on Sunday. Take care.